Hi friends, it's Joni here at Joni's Journals. How is everyone doing today? I am home on a Monday. It is Martin Luther King Day, and so I figured I would come along and do a video. I've been playing with mixed media. You might remember the last craft we did together. We made the mini clipboards. And so I figured I would be making a regular size Tim Holtz clipboard, and I figured I would bring you along and show you how. Now you can see on this one, I have a little window and some flowers and all that stuff. And I've also done it's embossing, but not really embossing on the little clip here, and I've added some of Tim's letters, and the name is escaping me right now, but I will give that to you later on, and bits of ephemera. So I figured we would make one together, not exactly like this one, but one that is going to be, shall we say, related to this one, so that when I display them, they'll look like they actually belong together. So I'm going to bring in the stuff and we are going to get started. I'll see you in a bit. Hang on. Okay, and we're back. And you can see I brought in lots of little bits of ephemera. I brought back the clip that goes on the clipboard. These are removable. Let me just grab them. They have these little knobs and screws on them. They can be removed from the clipboard so that you can prepare it in whatever way you choose and take the clip off. In order to do that, I brought in my Distress Embossing Powder, embossing glaze, I should say. The color is Antique Linen. I have, of course, my Collage medium. I've also gone ahead and prepared a window. I have used some, what do you call it? I'm recycling packaging from stamps that I have ordered. And it's sort of, as you can see, it's a muted paper, or plastic, I should say. And that's what I've chosen to use for both of my windows. It kind of cuts down the shine. I have my little Tim Holtz paper doll already inked up. She still needs a little bit of color. I've chosen my little metal item, which will go onto my clip once it's prepared and everything is set up. And so, yeah, I've got all the ephemera ready, and we are going to put the clipboard together. Now, I did cheat. I added a piece already, and this was so that I could center myself and know where my starting point would be. I have covered the entire clipboard, front and back, with 2 layers. It works out because the collage paper, which is what I've used, this is the idea-ology, and it's called Document. The light's shining, so you really can't see. But you'll note that the collage paper is a little bit too short to fill the whole clipboard. So what I've done is I have created 2 layers. I put it down as far as it'll go, and then I've layered over it. I did this without you because it's a relatively simple process using the collage medium, and you put the collage medium on the board, you lay the paper down, and you go over it again. If you've ever done, oh gosh, what's the word? I can't think of the word. But when you do collages, you generally lay the glue down, you put your stuff on it, and then you just lay the paper down and put another layer of glue. That's what I did. Okay, so I'm going to push all of this stuff aside. I'm going to grab out my little silicone mat so I don't mess up this mat, and I'll be right back again. Okay, see you in a bit. I'm back. Just before we start doing the one that we're going to prepare, I did want to add that this is the Tim Holtz Mini Clipboard. These are other clipboards that I've used, and I'm wondering now, I think these may also be Tim Holtz clipboards, but they are a bit larger. I will have to search that up so I can clarify it for you. But the one we're using today is the mini clipboard. These are ones that I have made as gifts. This one was a gift for my daughter, Julia, several years ago. And I did do some heat embossing on here to kind of give it a little bit of a vintage and or aged look. And I've added lots of other little elements. I've used some Tim Holtz photos and things that I had at the time. And I've also added some lace to it. And I went and I grabbed these and I realized that there was a difference in size. And so I did want to clarify that these are the Tim Holtz mini clipboards. And these may not have even been. Nope, these are not. I'm not really sure. I will have to do some research for you. But this is one that I made for myself, and I added some metal corners to it. And you can see I've also gone ahead and made some metal tassels for them as well, and they are put on with little clips. But yeah, I'm beginning to think that these, because these are completely assembled, I'm thinking that these are just some clipboards that I used. But I did want to show you the other ones because I had mentioned them in my last video where we did some mixed media and we did the mini clipboards. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a look at those. And like I said, the more I'm looking at these, I'm beginning to believe that these are just a regular clipboard. So you don't have to go out and buy the Tim Holtz mini ones. These probably more than likely, and like I said, they are several years old, were regular clipboards just from Staples. And I achieved the same effects with these. This again was made with the Tim Holtz collage paper. This one was done using Tim Holtz papers. Okay, so there you go. That's just an option for you. If you want to do it again, like I said, without having to purchase the Tim Holtz, you can do it as well. Okay, let me get everything together and we'll be back in a second. Okay, while I was gone, I went and I looked in my bucket in my closet and I found the other clipboard. And those clipboards that I just showed you are not Tim Holtz clipboards. Those are clipboards that I purchased at an office supply store. More than likely, I want to say it was Staples, and it has to be over 5 years ago. I'm sure they're still available if you go into your local Staples or if you have an office supply store near you. I can't think of any of the other ones that are still around. I know there's Office Depot and such. But, yep, those are not Tim Holtz clipboards. But as you can see, we can do it perfectly well with the Tim Holtz or a regular mainstream, office supply. So, yeah. Okay, so what I am doing, we're going to start out by preparing our clip. And what I'm going to do is I do not know how to edit. So when I use my heat tool, maybe you want to turn your volume down or skip ahead to the next section of this. But I am not good at editing out this kind of stuff. So yeah, I am using my tweezers just to get a grip on my clip for when I begin heating with my heat tool to melt my glue. And why I say that I'm embossing and using the term loosely is because this is not truly embossing, at least not in my eyes. I'm not using embossing ink. I'm using collage medium, and I am using embossing glaze, but again, I'm not using embossing ink. So call it what you like. I'm going to call it, what am I going to call it? Fake embossing. Okay. So what I've done, you can see I put a coat of my collage medium onto my clip here. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to sprinkle on the embossing glaze, which again is antique linen. And I'm going to put on a nice coat because I want as much of it to cling to the glue as possible. And I'm using my little collection tray here. And then I'm going to shake off the excess. Okay, and we're left with that. Now there is glue in areas that glaze in areas that I don't want it. And so I'm just going to grab my little paintbrush here and I'm going to wipe it off because I do not want the glaze to go where I do not want the glaze to go. And so you can see there, I know I'm going over you. I'm just cleaning it off a bit in those sections where I don't want the glaze because I just want the portions of the clipboard to still show. Okay, and you can see there are areas where it's missing, all right, but that's perfectly okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this aside and I am just going to dump my excess glaze back into the bottle. I love this little tray. If I can find one, I will link it for you. I know that I probably more than likely got it on Amazon, and it just works great in situations like this. I just want to make sure the cover is on my glaze. I'm going to put my paintbrush back in the water and put my plug back into my little tray. And I'm going to start. No, actually, you know what? I'm going to keep the tray here. And I'm going to start my heat gun, which, as you can hear, is a little bit noisy. And again, I'm sorry about that. I did have someone who was not happy with my lighting in one of my videos. And as I explained, I do all of my videos the same way on my phone, and I can't really do too much about that, and I can't really do too much about the noise. So as you can see, it's starting to heat up slowly but surely. Okay, and you can see the glaze is getting a little bit shiny. I'm just going to keep heating this. And what you will see happen soon is the glue will start to bubble. And can you see that happening right there? And that's what I want. I want the glue to get nice and hot so that it bubbles and will give us a little bit of a glazed effect. So I'm just going to keep going till it bubbles. Okay. And there we go. Let me shut my gun off. Okay. I am going to put both of these things aside to cool off. But you can see how it's just changed a little and it makes the metal look kind of mottled is about the best word that I can think of to tell you. But yeah, I'm going to go put this aside and I will be right back. Okay, friends. Now we're going to move on to doing some of the other elements that need to be done in order to create our clipboard. Okay, first we're going to start with our little metal element, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. But first I'm going to show you this one. You may not be able to make out a difference in this, and I'm trying to, I think that's a good way for you to see. These are the same color to start with. They're sort of that blackened nickel. So what I've done is I've just gently applied some of my distress crayon to my little bee, and you can barely see what I've done, but I have added a little bit of scattered straw crayon to it and a little white on his wings, and I've just rubbed it in just to change the color just that much that it makes a little bit of difference. And we're going to do something similar to this little coin here, which says love is never wasted. Okay, I'm going to just put that clipboard over there. I've brought back my clip, and you can see it's changed only a little bit, both the finish and the color. The finish on it now is a little bit rougher than it was before, and the color has sort of changed a little bit towards the antique linen, but this is what happens to the glue when you heat it up, okay? It begins to bubble, okay? And I kind of like that effect because it makes it look a little bit older. Now, as I said, we're just going to alter this little piece right here, just the tiniest bit. And I'm using my Distress crayon in Picket Fence. And this is my older one, which is barely living at this point. And I'm going to take the crayon and I'm going to put a little just onto the coin, like so. Okay? And I'm going to rub it in ever so slightly. And what's going to happen is the crayon, from it being a crayon, a waxy, melty kind of crayon, and also from the warmth of my thumb, it's going to ease that color into those letters, just the littlest bit. And I'm trying to do it so you can see. I'm going to add a little bit more because I didn't put enough. And again, I'm going to rub the crayon into the letters. Okay, I'm trying to figure out a better way for you to see what I'm doing, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to achieve that. So again, I'm going to add a little bit more of the crayon, okay, and I'm going to rub it in a little bit more. A little bit at a time, I find, works better than going all in, because I have done that and I've ended up with a mess. So here we go, just a little bit, and you can see it's just attached itself into those letters a little bit so that it makes them look a little bit white. And I'm going to add a little bit more over here down at the bottom, okay? And I'm going to rub that in too. Okay, I'm trying to bring it up so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. All right, let's try to get some of that excess out of there. You can see I've only done one set of my nails. I've decided to lay off the acrylic for a bit and give my nail bed a break. And so I just did it in regular nail polish. And let's see. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. There you go. Maybe you can see a little bit better. It just kind of makes a little bit of a different effect on the letters. And the more you kind of ease it over, I'm going to put a little bit more over here because I don't seem to have gotten any on that side there. Okay. And you can see it just changed it just enough so that you can see those letters a little bit better. Okay. Now I'm just going to grab my damp napkin here and wipe around. And there we go. Okay. I'm hoping you can see that. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to glue this to my clip with a little bit of the Collage medium. I'm just going to squirt out a little bit onto the clip, like so. Okay, you can see it just added a little bit. And I'm going to take and I'm going to put my coin on, and I'm going to grab it a little bit better, and I'm going to kind of get it where I want it, and then I'm just going to hold it down for a couple of seconds while it grabs on so that it can dry onto there. You can hear my dogs. Well, my dog is barking at the neighbors. All right, and I'm going to push down again, like I said, just so it holds on. Okay, and you can see we've got our little coin attached to our clip, like so. And I'm going to set this aside to dry. And we're going to move on to changing up our little letters, which again, I forgot to go and look what the name of them are, but I will post it in the description box below. Now you can see that these letters, I've chosen care for this one, and I've chosen love for this one. You can see the letters do start out white, okay? And I'm just altering them ever so slightly, and I've chosen not to paint them this time. I've been playing with my crayons, and there's another mixed media project that I've gone ahead and done, which again, my first mixed media didn't get a lot of views, but it got a positive views in that people stuck around to see what I was doing. So yeah, I may do a third one. I'm into mixed media right now. My tastes change. I have a bunch of journals brewing in the background, and I do have a couple that we need to finish. So yeah, that will come too. But for now, I'm stuck on mixed media. All right, what I've done with these letters in particular is I've taken my archival ink in potting soil. And I've just gone, now as you know, this is a permanent ink. And with these letters, what I did was I simply went around and I inked them up. The other ones, the care, I did in straight crayon. And then added a little bit of collage medium after I had glued them down. With this one, I wanted to play a little. And I started inking it. And I realized, sorry, my lights are blinking. My husband's outside building a walkway. And he's cutting bricks. So when he turns his saw on, it kind of makes my lights flicker. As I was saying, I started playing with the ink because it is a permanent ink. And I put it on one or two of the letters, and I found that it stays. It doesn't rub back off. So I said, well, let's ink up the letters first. And then we can go ahead and we'll add the crayon and we'll see what happens. And the crayon stayed stuck. So I figured, just pinched myself. That wasn't fun. I figured we could do that on all of the letters. So what I've chosen to use this color, this crayon is an older one, and this is peeled paint, which is kind of like a green. And so what I do is after I've added the ink, I go ahead and I rub on some of the crayon all over the letter, like so. And then, similar to the way I put the crayon onto the little disc there, I just rub the crayon onto the letter. And you can see there's bits and pieces that are left behind, but I'm not trying to make this look new. I'm trying to make it look old, like it's been around a while, been in the family. And it's been touched and played with and looked at. And so, yeah, if there's a little bit of crayon muck on it, who cares? It just makes it look a little bit older. So I'm going to go and I'm going to add the rest of the crayon onto here. And enough gets on my finger where I can start to just apply it to the letter and not really have to add any more to the letter. And so there we have our L-O, V-E, and I've added one of the little stars as an accent. It comes in with the letters. Okay, I think they're marquee letters or something. And so now all of our little letters are prepared for our clipboard. And what we'll do now is I will put all of this aside, and I will put the letters aside to sit over here with the clip. And I am going to bring in, my little young lady here, who you can see I've inked her as well. Okay, I've gone all around her with the same potting soil ink. And I'm going to go and I am going to grab my alcohol ink markers, which I should have had out. And I've chosen to do her with yellow, okay? And these are the Faber-Castell Gold Faber sketch markers. And I'm going to, the color I've chosen for her is a light yellow ochre. And the cap never stays on the pen. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and I am going to color her dress using that marker. and go all the way around and down. And I'm going to keep doing this, and when I'm done, I will come back to you. See you in a bit. So as you can see, I have finished coloring my little girl here, and I have used all alcohol markers, all the same. It's the Faber-Castell Gold Faber. I used the Vintage Rose for her flowers. I've used Vintage Turquoise for her belt. And again, I used the light yellow ochre for her dress. Okay, it's just to add a little bit of color to her. And I believe I showed you in the last video with the mini clipboards that I had colored the paper dolls in exactly the same way, not quite the same way. Okay, so I think we have everything prepared for as much as we can get it prepared beforehand. But I do want to show you something before I go ahead and do that, because again, I'm going to do some of that off camera so that you don't have to sit here and watch me fiddle. My layout for this is that my window is going to go right about there, covering up my flowers, so that when you look through the window, you can see that the young lady is looking out at flowers in her garden, similar to the way that this young lady has flowers in her garden as well. You can see them just slightly rather, through the window, and they are the exact same flowers because I went ahead and I purchased another packet of the Tim Holtz Field Notes. Okay, that's where these flowers and most of this stuff comes from. If not from the Field Notes, then it comes from the Field Notes Snippets. So I just want to show you what we're going to do. We're going to put our window like that, and our young lady will be standing alongside the window like so. Now I have already added 2 layers of foam tape to my window, which means that if I want my young lady to stand here with her hand on the windowsill like so, okay, standing near her I almost said her mirror, standing near her window, she's going to kind of be hanging out here with a big space between her and the actual clipboard. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to apply some of the double-sided foam tape to the back of her right about here, so that when we start putting things together and I add my young lady to it, the foam tape is going to hold her up. Okay, I did the same thing with this young lady, and I don't know if you're really going to, well, maybe you can. Right in here by her feet is a double layer of foam tape, okay, so that when her feet are hanging off of the window, they're not just fluttering there and taking a chance on getting bent or torn off. I wanted them attached to the clipboard so that none of that would happen. I'm going to do the same exact thing for this young lady. And like I said, I'm just going to put a couple of layers right here just to hold her up. Okay, and once I've done that, I will come back and we will start assembling. Okay, I may do some of that off screen because I know that can be a little bit tedious. But yeah, I'll be back when I'm done adding the foam tape to her. Okay, and we have added the foam tape to our young lady. And as you can see, it doesn't show on the front at all. Well, maybe I'm lying. There might be a little point here that I need to clip off now that I've flipped her over and taken a good look at her. Okay, there we go. Okay, now you can't see any of the foam tape that is behind her. Simply what I do is I add 1 layer of foam tape. I peel off the protective paper and I lay down another layer of foam tape right on top of it. And that gives me enough thickness so that now when I put her on, she might actually need, I think I'm going to go ahead and add a 3rd layer because I don't think that that's enough, okay? So you can have the opportunity to watch me do this. And yeah, why not? Okay, I'm peeling the paper off of my foam tape. And I'm going to grab this big Mama Jamma roll of foam tape that I have here. And I'm going to lay down another layer on top of the 2 that I already have. See, it's a good thing I showed you. because that sure would have been lousy if we came back and thought we were going to finalize it and put her on and say, ooh, we're done, and we don't have enough tape. So again, I'm taking this side, peeling the protective backing off, and I'm going to lay a layer down right on top, okay, and I'm going to snip it off, and now she should be good. All right, let's get that out of there, and let's try this again, okay. I do have to give my mat a wipe because I do have some of the embossing glaze that's sitting on here. And that, again, is a little bit better. It's not perfect, but I think we might be pretty good with what we've got here. So, yeah, I'd say we're good. I think we are good. All right, and she'll just be a little bit floppy towards the bottom, but she's not going to go anywhere, and she's not going to bend, and she's not going to tear off. Okay, so that is what we have prepared for that portion. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some of the ephemera that I've chosen to use on my clipboard, and I'm going to lay it out and show you how I've decided to arrange it, just so that you can have an idea. And then I think I have to get up and go get my doggies because they appear to be growling at each other. And they may need to be yelled at. But I'm just going to show you. We're going to lay out our ephemera just like this, okay? And add our little butterfly up at the top. And so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue that all down, and I will be right back. Okay, and we're back. I've added this little section here, and I've added my ephemera. Now I thought I might bring you along just to do the ephemera on this side as well. And I'm just going to push my little clipboard up, and I'm going to add a layer of Collage Medium over here on this section of the board. And I'm going to lay down my first piece of ephemera. Now, mind you, like I said, this is all from the Tim Holtz Field Notes packet, ephemera packet. And I have inked everything, and I've gotten a little too much glue over here on the side. I've inked everything using the archival ink and potting soil. And I'm just going to go, and I'm going to start adding my ephemera to the board, okay? And I know that some of you might find this a little bit boring, but for those of you that have never done it before, I just thought it was kind of important to bring those people along for the ride. Now, what we're going to be doing on this side of the board, after I've added all the ephemera, and as our very last step, is we are going to bring in those letters that we colored, the word love, and that is going to be added into this corner. But I did want to bring you along while I was adding some of the ephemera so that you could see what I'm doing. I didn't want to leave you out of everything, okay? And again, I know there are some of you who do not enjoy this. And so if you're one of those people, please feel free to skip ahead in the video. And you can come back after all of this has been done. And so I've chosen things for the corners. And I've already laid them out, so I know basically where everything is going. Get out of there. Okay, and I have this little stamp here. And I'm going to put that up here in this corner. And I do add, it might seem a little bit excessive, but I do like to add a thick coat of the Collage Medium so that the items that I've chosen to put there are going to stay down. And then I'll put a coat over it like so. Okay, and if there's too much, I'll drag it out. It's not going to hurt anything. And then I have this little piece here. It says Type Slide. I'm going to add that right about there, like so. Okay, and again, a little bit of collage medium. And I have this little piece here, and my biggest problem is making sure that it's facing in the right direction. And I'm just going to add that piece there. And you might be saying, oh, well, isn't it going to get covered by the clip? Well, no, not really. And I don't like empty spaces. And so I add a little bit to each side. And I do have some for this side too. Oh, I forgot to add my butterfly. Okay, let's just put a little bit up here. And I kind of liked the little circle element to give a little bit of interest. I'm gonna glue that piece down like so. And I will tell you what happened. There was a clog in my collage medium. And so when I squirted it out, I got an extra large bunch of it squirting out. And then we're just going to put this right here, like so. And we're going to glue that down. So yeah, I have a very large pile of collage medium in my little cup over here to my right. And it is just a little bit too much, but that's okay. We'll use it up. Okay. And so I'm going to add that tiny, tiny little piece right over there. Okay. And then we have this little piece here, which I figured, you know what, I put the airmail over there. I'm just going to kind of put this little piece right here. Because after all, the collage paper that we're using is collaged itself. So why not kind of accentuate that fact? Okay. And so there we have it. We've added almost all of our ephemera to our little piece here. And I did, again, I forgot to put my butterfly. And I want my little butterfly to go right there. Okay. And again, this is the side that our letters are going to go on to. And so I'm just going to coat that area again. And like I said, we will do the letters last because they do take applying a little bit of pressure to them so that they stay stuck down. Okay, so there we go. That whole part is done. And now I'm just going to put my brush back into my water, put the little stopper into my collage medium. And I think what we'll do now is I'm going to measure up in order to add my window. I want to make sure that I can see exactly where my clip is going to go. And so what I'm doing is I am matching my clip up with the holes in the clipboard, okay? And that will give me a general idea of where I want to put my window. Okay, and so my window can successfully sit right about there, like so. And I want to make sure that it's straight, so I'm just going to push it up a little bit so that I can see that it's straight. And then again, our pretty little girl is going to go right about there. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin taking the tape off, the paper rather, off of the back of my window here and get that all peeled off and ready to go. If I can just get it started, that would be a good thing. There we go. Okay. And then I have this piece in here. This was, again, sort of like what I did with the young lady. I kind of added a piece in the center here so that I could brace that center section of the window so that it wouldn't weaken and fall off. weaken and crush the window, just like I didn't want the girls' legs to crush and get broken on the other clipboard. Okay, and then once I get all of this done, get all this paper off of here, I'm going to take and turn my clipboard on an angle. Well, turn it sideways, not on an angle, and make sure that my clip is still pretty much straight with its holes and that it's straight on the clipboard. And I'm going to take, and I'm just going to use my little T ruler here and make sure that my clip is straight, because if my clip is straight, then I know that my window will be straight. So there we go. All right, now my clip is straight, and I'm going to take and I'm going to place my window centered over my flowers, making sure, again, I'm going to turn this again just to make sure that I'm getting the window in the center like so, and that it's laying over my flowers just the way I want it to. Well, it's kind of stuck now. Oh, I think we're good. All right. Oh. Yes, you're watching me struggle to get something centered. Okay, and there we go. Our window is nice and centered on our clipboard, and it looks relatively straight. Yes, my flowers are sticking out the side of my window, but I don't care about that. All right, so now we're going to need to add our young lady to our window like so, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel. First, I'm going to apply some of the Collage medium to the window, and I'm going to add the elements that I want to add to my window, because I did choose a little butterfly to put up in the corner here. I do have a little bit too much glue. Okay. For those of you that are experts at that, forgive me. At this, rather. Forgive me for all of the little messes that I seem to be making. Okay, and we're going to apply our butterfly right there, and then I'm just going to put a layer, I'm going to put a layer of Collage medium over him as well. Okay, because as I've said before, the Collage medium does kind of protect these pieces from getting damaged. And I have a little bunch of lilies, which happens to be my favorite flower. I love lilies. I'm going to add a little bunch of lilies over here in this corner, like so, onto my window. And again, a little bit of Collage medium over them as well. And I'm doing this very delicately because I don't want to get the Collage medium onto my window pane. Okay? So there we have that. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to take the paper backing off of the foam tape so that my young lady is prepared to lay down onto our clipboard once I add the Collage medium. And I'm going to add that over here just a bit. And I'm going to add it on here along the bottom. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to add a layer here. This window was, I had actually pulled this window out to use it in another mixed media project. And so it already had a layer of Collage medium on it. But I'm just going to add a little bit more. Okay. So now let's put our brush back in the water. Now I'm going to very carefully line up my young lady with my window, because I want to make sure that I don't get her stuck to the clipboard before I'm ready for it. Okay, so now she's added, and I'm going to push down onto the foam tape so that the rest of her body is stuck to the clipboard. And so there we have her stuck down, and I'm going to apply some collage medium over her as well. Okay, so that she's protected. Also, I'm going to push down just to make sure that she's staying stuck down to the part of the window that she is actually leaning onto, and I'm going to push that down with my finger as well, just to make sure she's staying stuck. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply a layer of the collage medium to her, like so, and get her feet. I should have put maybe a little double-faced tape behind her feet. I can always go back and do that. I was just a little bit afraid that it might show through her legs. And so there you have it. Again, my husband turned on his saw, and I just want to make sure that the strokes of the paintbrush and the collage medium are all going in one direction. And so I'm going to lean this up just a little, and I'm going to pull down from top to bottom with the collage medium, and then go across on her again and pull it through so that it gets a nice coating and that the layers are all going in one direction. Okay, and so I'm going to let her sit for a few minutes, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to add the clip, and then we're going to add our letters. Okay. So now you can see that this is in real time with, you know, just a few minutes in between, that my little clip, my little disc is stuck pretty tightly to my clip. And so now I feel safe and secure adding my clip onto my clipboard. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my screws, and I'm just going to push it through the holes that I've already made in the clipboard. And this is why we do our letters last, because I do kind of have to flip the clipboard around in different directions in order to add my clip back onto the clipboard. And again, I'm going to take the other screw and I'm going to put it through like that. Okay, and they'll stay pretty stuck. It's pretty sticky from all of the collage medium. And then I'm just going to lay my clip down safely under my butterfly. Okay, and you can see that the screws are pretty much stuck in there. Okay, if you even care. And then I'm going to take one of my little knobs and I'm going to attach it to the screw on this side. And then I'm going to take the other one and I'm going to attach it to the screw on this side, like so. And this is just to show you how easily these come apart and go back together. And then I'm going to grab my Phillips screwdriver and I'm just going to tighten up the screws. Not too tight. You don't need to break it. You're not going to be playing football with this. But you do want it to stay on. And so then I'm going to tighten the screw on that side. Whoop. While holding that little ball on the other. And there you have it. Our clip is back on. And you can see our little mottled area and our little whitened letters. And now we're going to take and we're going to apply the word love onto here, like so. Okay. And I'm going to grab some of this excessive amount of collage medium that I've spilled out. And I am going to apply a heavy coat because I do want to be able to push the letters down into the glue so that the glue will dry under them and around them so that they stay stuck. Well, I guess I really didn't have all that much. I was thinking, what am I going to do with all of this excess glue? Okay. Well, I do seem to have a little bit much. All right. And then I'm just going to begin lining up my letters. And I'm going to put L and push that down. Then I'm going to take the O and line them up side by side. And then the V. Now these letters are kind of quirky shaped, and from what I understand, Tim kind of designed them that way. He didn't want them all to be perfect. And so, yeah, okay. Let's get that V on there. And I'm just going to push down a little. And I'm going to grab the E. And I'm going to add that here too. Like so. And I'm going to push down on them so that I know that they've grabbed in. And then I have my little star. And I'm going to add that off to the side of the L. So I'm going to grab some more of the excessive amount of collage medium that I have on there. And I'm going to add my little star up here at the top, off to the side of my L. And then I'm just going to take and tilt this up to make sure that I've actually got my letters straight. And they are pretty straight. I'm surprised. Wow. I got them straight. Okay. Well, there you go. I hope you stuck around to watch this whole process and that you enjoyed it. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please comment. I appreciate all comments. I had a comment, I think I mentioned it before, you may not have heard me because we were doing embossing, that someone had said that they thought that my videos were too bright. And I record all of my videos exactly the same way. So what I'm thinking maybe the issue is this matte, and it's white, and I think it's bringing out the brightness. So yeah, so here is the one that I did without you. And you can notice I strategically placed love on one side and care on the other. And I've also added a little bit of a splotchy layer of collage medium onto these letters, which it has taken a bit to dry, and they're still a bit sticky. So let me just see. Let me go back in, and maybe I'll do the same thing to these letters. I just basically, whoops, it's leaning on my T ruler. I just basically splashed on just a little bit of the collage medium because I don't want to wipe off the crayon or the ink that I've applied to the letters, but I do kind of like the texture that the collage medium is giving it. Whoops. Just dropped something. I think it was garbage anyway. So yeah, so now we have that also on the love. But as I was saying, I strategically placed them so that these could be displayed side by side, and we have love and care, which, you know, we all need a little love and care. So I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. I do have another project picked out. I'm going to go and find out the name of these letters, and I'll post it in the description box below. I'm pretty sure they're still available. I can't see why not. They are a relatively newer product, but who knows? And I'm just going in, and you can see I'm futzing with this. I'm just adding a little bit of the collage medium to my little disc there. And yeah, okay. So again, I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to send you lots of love, big hugs, and ask you please to remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Okay, it really, really, really helps my channel. And while I do realize that this is not something I normally do, again, this is the mood I'm in. And I do have another project, and we'll probably get to that next week. This has been a pretty busy weekend. Okay, so you guys take care. Love, hugs, like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you soon. Bye.